Good morning. It's 9 o'clock on this Monday, February 23rd.
And this is 7 News Now, the quickest way to get the news that you need. And it's time for our first alert forecast with Jacob Durham, who's going to let us know, are these chilly temperatures going to stick around?
Yeah, we're going to have to deal with them for about another 24 hours or so. It's going to be a pleasant afternoon. That's going to be the good news. But it certainly is going to be a colder start for our Tuesday morning. We're looking at a frost and freeze potential out there for you. But it's beautiful weather. It's a lot of sunshine. Temperatures warming up now. We're into the mid-40s for a lot of folks. A live look on the Jennings sky cam, temperature at 43 degrees. Still want the jacket and the coat as you're stepping out the door this morning, but low 40s inland. That's where we were back in the upper 30s. So we've made a lot of headway, which is good news. It's 44 Fort Polk, 43 in Oakdale to 46 here in Lake Charles. So we're tracking out temperatures continuing to climb. Now, as we look across the big picture, still some low to mid 30s. Nashville's at 24 degrees. That's where there's some clouds, a little bit of snow flying as well. Even down into portions of Florida, we're back into the low to mid 50s out there. So certainly tracking cold all the way to the coast, which is certainly something that we haven't seen in a while. We've kind of been spoiled with some of that warmer weather, but northerly winds continue to persist, 10 to 15 miles per hour at times. Temperatures today by 5 o'clock in the evening into the upper 50s, and then we're steadily falling as we head through the evening hours. With that being said, temperatures will be back into the upper 30s to low 40s out there, and these winds will actually begin to turn direction. They'll begin to change back out of the southeast as we're heading into tomorrow morning. We're looking at a frost and freeze potential along and north of Interstate 10, but we're also looking at warmer weather on the way. I encourage you to join me coming up on First Alert Weather Extra. That'll be coming up at 10 o'clock on our streaming platforms. We're going to break down the week ahead, the warmer weather, and then a cold front by Thursday. Find out if it means that we're going to have some showers and downpours with it coming up on First Alert Weather Extra at 10 a.m.
Well, Lake Charles police are investigating a crash involving a bicyclist and a vehicle.
It happened on Ryan Street near Churchill Street yesterday. 7 News was at the scene just after 2:30 p.m. and observed one person being put on a stretcher and into an ambulance. Police say the bicyclist was transported to a hospital, but at this time their condition is unknown. We'll have more on this story as it develops. This morning, numerous wildfires across the southeast region of Louisiana are now under control. In Livingston Parish, fire officials say flames were brought under control on Gum Swamp Road in the middle of the parish last night. However, you can still expect smoke to linger in that area. We're also told over 200 acres of land was burned in that fire.
And a few parishes over in St. Tammany where a forest fire broke out yesterday, forcing crews to shut down the interstate for hours. The interstate was reopened around 9 last night. However, smoky conditions are expected to remain in the area throughout the morning. And because of the dry conditions and wind, a burn ban is in effect in Tangipahoa Parish until further notice. Parish President Robbie Miller says that it comes at the request of local fire chiefs, and the ban includes all open residential and commercial burning. It does not include the use of barbecue pits, grills, or fire pits, but officials are asking you to use extreme caution if you do so. And according to the Louisiana Attorney General Liz Murrill, Louisiana schools can now start displaying the 10 Commandments. That's after a ruling in the U.S. Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals.
The court ruling Friday against the ACLU's challenge of a state law, saying it is, quote, premature to determine the constitutionality of House Bill 71. According to the ACLU of Louisiana, that bill, which was passed in 2024 regular legislative session, requires the display of the 10 Commandments in public classrooms across the state. This decision from the court to reverse a preliminary injunction from a federal court in November of 2024 comes after the court heard oral arguments just 1 month ago in the case. Now HB 71 is officially allowed to go into effect in the state of Louisiana.
Montez while trying to capture him. Yesterday in Tapala, the White House reports that the U.S. provided intelligence support for the mission, and his death led to hours of violence with cartel members setting up fiery roadblocks across the state. Residents and tourists are being warned to stay inside for their own safety.
It was really scary. We've been coming down here for almost 20 years, and we've always told people to come down and check it out because you always feel safe here. We've never, ever not felt safe. And today was the first day as we left the hotel to go have breakfast and saw all the craziness going on and the violence and the smoke that we were actually terrified.
Cartel members could carry out more attacks, and today in retribution, analysts also expect a battle to see who will take over the cartel. Several airlines have canceled flights out of caution. And if you're planning on traveling to the East Coast in the next few days, you may want to look at your flight status.
This is because a record-breaking blizzard is wreaking havoc on most of the north. According to FlightAware.com, over 1,000 flights have been canceled, and most of them are going to or from major airports up north. If you're watching this live stream on your app or online, don't forget you can download 7 News straight to your Roku or smart TV.
Thanks for joining us, and now we'll send you back to Local News Live.